Hello everyone, in this video I'm going to give you a little demo of how to use Pygame because I know a lot of you want to use that for your final project. Okay, so first thing is you really don't want to program in Pygame on Replit. You can, like there's a Replit for doing it, but it really doesn't work very well. So you really want to have installed Python on your own computer, and then you also have to install Pygame on your own computer. So the instructions for installing Python on your own computer are here on Blackboard under the final project folder. Installing Python and using idle link right here. And then for installing Pygame, I put the instructions on my example project. So you do need to actually follow those instructions right there to install Pygame. Now, these are kind of complicated because if you have the latest version of Python installed, which is the one you would have installed if you used my video, then the this first part A here, like for Windows, is not going to work. So you have to do this part B here instead. The weird thing is that the latest versions of Pygame and Python are not compatible. So basically you either have to like install a prior version of Python or you have to install a prior version of Pygame. So that's the one that this one is going to do. Okay, and then hopefully for Mac people, I hope these directions work, but I don't have a Mac, so I can't test them. Anyway, once you have Python and Pygame installed, then you can open up idle. So I just find it by just like searching for idle in my start menu. So yeah, I'm going to be looking at another version of this code that I made while I'm doing this demo. So please don't think that I just like am a genius who can code all this stuff off the top of my head, because I'm not. I had to look up all these commands on like examples that other people put online, and then I use the Pygame documentation for the most part to make modifications. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is you're going to need to import Pygame. So this part right here, just import Pygame. This won't run unless you actually have Pygame installed on your computer. So if you can run this by clicking run up here, or you can just press F5 if you have function keys on your keyboard. I'm pressing F5. So that part right there won't even run if you don't have Pygame installed. All right, so once that's installed, then if you have some functions that you want to define, then you can put them right here. But when you're first programming your code, you probably don't have any functions in mind yet. So the next thing you want to do is just go ahead and initialize Pygame with this command right here, pygame.init. Just starts up the Pygame engine. I don't know what it really does. You just have to do it. Okay, and then similarly with Turtle, you're going to make a screen to draw on. So this is, I'm just going to call mine screen, but you can call it, whatever you want. You can call this Jim or Bob or whatever, but something descriptive is good. So I'll call this screen. So this is the command pygame.display.set mode. And again, I do not have these memorized. I'm looking at my other monitor right now. Okay, so then here, the first argument here in the this set mode thing that makes the screen for you is the size that you want the screen to display as when the user first runs the program, and it's a tuple with 2 numbers in it. Okay, so I'm going to do 800 by 600 because that should be a pretty good size for most people's monitors. And then the second argument here that I'm going to pass it is pygame.resizable. So the capital letters there, it's like a convention that when you use capital letters, that's for a constant value that is in the Pygame package. And this particular value that you're passing is like some kind of, it's like something to let Pygame know that you want the window that runs to be, or that comes up to be resizable. Otherwise the user can't resize the screen. I think it's nice to make it resizable. I mean, you don't have to, but I think it's nice. So if we go ahead and just run what we have right now, as you can see, you just get a window that comes up. It's 800 by 600. It's black by default, and it doesn't do anything. In fact, you can't even close this, right? Because I did not program the behavior to close it. So if you want to close this, you have to like, I don't know, what do you have to do? You have to like kill it from the task menu or something, I guess, taskbar. Actually, I think if I kill this shell back here, it'll stop. Yeah, okay. But the like area where you can type commands in with the little 3 arrows, if you kill that, it should stop running the program. Okay, so anyway, as you can see, you can't even close it unless you program it to be able to close. So the command to close the window is pygame.quit. Now I'm just going to go ahead and put that at the end, which means this program is just going to open a window, and then close the window, which is not really what you want, but later on you'll see like how we actually let the user decide to close. Okay, so as you see, it opened a window and then it just closed. All right, I gotta pause the video for a second, corral my cat. Okay, I corralled my cat. So basically this pygame.quit command, you want that to go at the very end of your program. So this should stay the last line of the program. And you want to only let the user, or let Python get to that command when you're actually ready to quit because the user wants to quit. So going back to the things that should be at the beginning of the program. So the next thing you need to do is, well, you can, I mean, you don't have to, but you can like change the name of the window, for example, by using this command. So this just is what's going to be displayed at the top of the window that opens up. So I'll just call this, I don't know, Pygame demo or whatever. So now if I run the program, it's only going to pop up for a second. It was too fast to see, but you could see that the title of the window was changed on that bar at the top. Okay, and then the next thing you need that's kind of mysterious is you need a clock. And what even is a clock is like mysterious enough that I don't even know what it really is, but you need this command right here so that you can, basically the behavior of your Pygame program is that you're going to keep refreshing the screen a whole bunch, like continuously. And you don't want that to happen too fast because it's going to eat up all of your computer's memory and attention span, so to speak. So you want to have a clock so that you can like pause after each screen refresh, basically. All right, so that is all the stuff that you need to just initialize a window and have it there to draw in. And now you want to define, so this was basically like initializing your window. And now what you want to do is you want to initialize your variables for whatever you're going to do in your program or your game. So two variables that I think would be pretty important to have no matter what program you're writing in Pygame would be, first of all, the most important one, a flag of some sort, a Boolean variable, otherwise known as a flag. I'm going to call mine want to continue. In my example final project, I called it like want to quit or something. So it had like the opposite meaning. But basically this is a variable that keeps track of whether the user has pressed the X button in the corner of the window to exit the program. So you want to keep track of whether that's happened because otherwise you can't, like they can't just quit the window unless you let them quit the window. Okay. So I'm going to start this off as true because I think at the beginning they do want to continue running the program. Okay, and then I'm also going to have a Boolean variable, otherwise known as a flag, for whether the mouse key is down because I want to enable some click and drag behavior. So for that I need to know whether the mouse key is down or not. So I'm going to start that off as false because they're probably not holding the mouse key down when they start the program, most likely. Okay, and then, so what I want this program to accomplish is I want to just have a message that the user can just like drag around the screen. It's like not very complicated program, just kind of simple. They can type a message and drag it around the screen. And maybe I'll display an image too, so you guys can see how to load images. There's tons of other stuff you can do. You can like draw lines and circles, rectangles, all kinds of stuff, just like in Turtle. And obviously for my example final project, I use lines, like millions of lines. But for this particular program, I'm just going to do some text and some click and drag and load an image. Okay, so I'm going to have a message that I want to display to the user. And so here is my initial value for the message. So this is just some directions for the user to follow. Okay, so this is the behavior that I want them to be able to engage in. They can type a message and then they can click and drag it around the screen. Okay, so some other things that I need to enable this behavior, I need variables to keep track of where the message should be at. So I'm going to call those X and Y. So these are the X and Y positions of where the message is going to be. And then I'm also going to have a variable for the background color of the screen. Because you knew me, I love my colors, so I gotta have colors. And I gotta have changing colors. Otherwise it's no fun. Okay, so this will be my background color. So this was a tuple of 2 integers, and colors are gonna be a tuple of 3 numbers in pretty much any computer program. Sometimes you have 4 numbers, one of them is the the last one is the transparency. But anyway, this is going to be 3 numbers, so it's red, green, and blue components of the color, and they're going to be integers between 0 and 255. So I'm just going to put a starting value for the background color here. I'm just going to do like, I don't know, red. So if I want red, I'd put max out the red component and then put 0 for the other 2 components, and that'll give me pure red. And then I'm going to make a color for the text too, so I want to also change that. Maybe I'll make this one pure blue, so it'll be 0, 0, and then max out the blue component. Okay, and then I'm also going to go ahead and load an image that I have. Now this image, I just have it saved in the same place as my script file. So my script file is in my OneDrive in my folder for this class. Let me just show you. So this is, where are we? Yeah, Pygame demo live. So that's the one I'm typing right now. And then the picture I downloaded from the internet earlier, it's derp cat small. And it's just this picture right here. It's, I don't know, I like it. So I'm gonna make Pygame load that picture. So this is something you guys can do in your games as well. So it's really easy to load images in Pygame. Just give it a name, and then you're gonna do pygame.image.load, and then you just put the name of the file as a string. If you need to go into like a different folder, then I think you have to put the like complete file path, but I haven't tried to do that, so I'm just putting it in the same folder as the script. Okay, so that is my cat image, and now what I want to do now is I want to do commands to display the initial screen to the user, like whatever I want them to see when they first open the program. I need to do that right here. Okay, so what I want to happen is I'm going to fill the screen with my background color. So I need to do that before I load my cat image. Otherwise, I'll load my cat image and then like paint over it, basically. Okay, so the order that you draw things in is important in terms of what's on top. All right, so I'm going to do the fill screen first, and I just have to pass my BG color to this screen.fill command. Notice here, screen, that's the variable name that you picked up here for your screen. You could have called it something else, and then you would have to change this too. Okay, so I'm filling the screen, and then I'm going to display my, I'm going to go ahead and display my cat image. So I'm going to do this, let's see. So the way you display an image is you do screen.blit. I don't know what this stands for, blit, but anyway, that's what the command is. And then you put the name of your image, and then you got to put a comma, and then your second argument here is a tuple that is the position where you want the top left corner of the image at. And now we have to talk about positions, and it's kind of confusing. So let me actually just like load the window again so you guys can, so we can talk about this for a second. So where positions are at in your window. So in Turtle, we had the origin was at the center right here, and then X increased in this direction and Y increased in this direction, which is how your normal like calculus and pre-calculus and stuff are. But most computer graphics are not like that, and Pygame is not like that. So kind of the default in computer graphics is that the origin is in the top left corner, and X increases to the right, and Y increases as you go down. So that's backwards from, it's like upside down from what you're used to in math. It kind of makes more sense if you realize that like the earliest graphics, like they were making them with text. And so when you write on a page, you go to the right and then you go down. So like that's the legacy of it. So anyway, you just have to keep that in mind when you're drawing your graphics. Okay, so in other words, oh yeah, I have to kill this shell here. All right, so that's what you have to think about when you're thinking about where to put this cat image at. So I'm just gonna go ahead and just put it at the 0, 0 corner. So it's gonna be up in the top left corner. All right. So far all I'm doing is I'm just like loading this cat image. Let's see what it looks like. Oops. Oh, right, nothing happened. Okay, so this is important. Nothing will ever show up that you do unless you call this one particular command, which is the following pygame.display. update. So no matter what you put on your screen, none of it'll show up until you call this command. All right, so let me try this again. Yep. So we saw the red background and the derpy cat, and then it just closed because that was this last line here tells it to close. Okay, so that's what I wanted to happen, but I think I want to put a couple of more things on this screen. So in particular, I want to display this message up here that I typed. All right, so I'm going to do that next. So in order to display text, you actually have to make it into an image first. And in order to make it into an image, I need to load a font. So Pygame doesn't come with like pre-built-in fonts. You have to like grab them from the user's system, I guess. I don't really know how that part works, but anyway, this is how you create a font or load a font. So just give it a name. I'm going to call it my font. And then you do pygame.font.sysfont, and then none, and then your font size. There's probably some more sophisticated things you could put here, like you could load a particular font or something. I don't know. I haven't tried to do that. This is just the way to load a basic font. Okay, and then to make the actual image using the font, I'm going to give it a name, message image, call it whatever you want. And then I'm going to do my font.render. Okay, so this is rendering the message into an image. And then you put the string here. My string is called message. It's this string that's up here. Okay, and then this is going to be true. I don't remember what that true is for. And then you put the text color, and then you put the background color. Okay, so when it renders the image, it's going to have that particular background color, and then the font written on top of that in the text color. Okay, let's see how this looks. Oops, I don't think I actually saw it for long enough. You know what we can actually do is we can make like a little pause so it displays for longer before it closes. Let me do that right here. So I'm going to do clock.tick 100, and that's just going to pause for a little bit before it closes. Maybe not long enough. Hold on. Let's see. Oh, not long enough. Let's try this. Oh, not long enough. It's really not getting much longer. Hold on. I might be using this tick argument wrong. I think I am. Let me pause this and look up what tick does. Okay, yeah, I was using it wrong. So this is like for changing a setting when you're doing a loop. So if I just want to like pause for a second, outside of the context of a loop, then I have to do clock.delay and then put like a number of seconds, milliseconds right here. So this will be like 3 seconds. All right, let me try this. Yeah, okay, so there it is. But why am I not seeing my text? Oh, I also got an error over here. Oh, shoot. Okay, I'm just like pausing and looking stuff up. As you guys can see, I'm not a Pygame expert. So I think this is supposed to be pygame.time.delay. Let me try this. Oh, I know why my text is not showing up. Or do I know? Oh yeah, it's because I didn't put it on the screen. Yeah, sorry. I didn't actually like, I made the image right here, but like I didn't actually put it on the screen. So I have to do screen.lit and then message image. Okay, and then I have to, just like with this one, I have to give it the coordinates of the top left corner. Okay, let's try one more time. Okay, so I made this silly picture and I made it display for 3 seconds and then close. So already this is like pretty challenging, but now we're going to program some interactions with the user. So this is what Pygame is all about, is interacting with the user. Okay, so now that I'm done with all of my initial stuff, now I'm going to do a loop, and the looping, sorry, I'm just like loading my other page. So looping is how you get the program to look like it's basically refreshing the screen a whole bunch and like taking all of your actions and responding to them. So you're going to have this loop that just runs continuously. And the condition for this loop is it's going to be using this want to continue variable right here. So as long as the user wants to continue, then the loop will just keep running. Okay, so it's a while loop, and we're going to do while want to continue. Okay, and then somewhere in here we have to give, inside of the loop, there has to be a way for the user to make want to continue be false. Otherwise, this will just run forever. So yeah, we have to think about how we're going to do that. So this is like one of the main elements of how not just Pygame, but like most user interfaces and games work, is you have a loop that's continuously going, and then you have some way of accessing what the user wants to do. And Pygame is kind of, I guess I would characterize it as more like primitive type of, not in a bad sense, but like a more primitive type of package, because you actually have to program the loop yourself. And in some packages, they kind of like hide that behavior from you. And in some programming languages, they sort of hide that looping behavior from you and just let you do it in a more simplistic way, like tell it what you want to happen when buttons are pressed and stuff. And you don't have to sort of know that like there's this loop going on. But anyway, sorry, I'm digressing. I'm a professor, I do that. Okay, so while the user wants to continue, what we have to do is we have to always be checking whether they've done anything. You gotta be always checking, did they press the mouse? Did they hit a key? Did they resize the window? Did they hit the X button? You have to just check like continuously, like ad nauseum. Pygame has this thing, it has a way of like letting you load all of the events that have happened and just like look through them one by one and see what the user did. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to do that. So you're going to have another loop. This time it's a for loop. So you're going to do for event in pygame.event.get. Okay, so this pygame.event.get thing, this is a list, and it's a list of all of the events that have happened since the last time you called this command. Okay, so once you're done with this for loop, it gets like emptied basically, and then the next time you call that, you get a new list of the events that have happened since the last time. Okay, so we're going to walk through this list of events one at a time, and we're going to look at every single one, see what type of event it was, and if it was a type that we're interested in, then we're going to respond to it. Okay, so basically now you're going to have a bunch of if, elif, and else's to look at what type of event you have and respond to it. All right, so the most important type is if the user wants to quit, you have to let them quit. I mean, unless you want to trap them in purgatory, I guess you could do that too. And maybe you could even like yell at them or something. It might be funny. All right, but so each event here is being stored under the name event. Every time the for loop iterates again, you have a new event under that name. So you're going to do event.type, all right, and that's going to return what type of event it was. And there's this whole list of like different types of events that exist. I'm going to show you a few, but there's a whole bunch more that you can look up online. So the first type is when they want to quit, you do it like this. Okay, so pygame.quit, that is an event type that indicates they want to quit. Either they press the X button or maybe they hit like Alt F4 or whatever. It's like a keyboard shortcut for closing a window. In any case, they want to quit. So what we need to do is respond to that by making this Boolean variable be false. Set that to be false. Okay, so what happens then is once they hit the X button, they're gonna get shot. They're gonna exit this while loop. Well, once we're done looking through the events, they'll exit the while loop, and then they'll get down here this last line, which is quit. So I'm actually gonna take out this delay here. All right, so let me go ahead and run the program and show you that this works. Okay, so I'm doing different things. I'm clicking, I'm pressing the keyboard, but nothing's happening. The only thing I'm responding to right now is if I press this X button up here, it should quit the program. Yep, so you have to actually program that. Okay, so that's the most important thing, that you get that working. And then another thing that's just just being kind to the user is to let them resize the window. Okay, so I'm gonna let them resize the window. So I'm gonna do elif event.type == pygame dot video resize. Okay, so that's the event that you get when they've resized the window. What I want to do is basically just repeat everything that I did up here at the top. I think though, actually, you know, I should have instead of using 0, 0 here, I think I should have used XY. I mean, it doesn't matter, but like basically, I'm going to repeat all this stuff right here. I'm just going to copy and paste it. And then I want to make a couple little changes. Okay, so I want to fill the screen with the background color, yes. I want to load the cat image, but I think I'm going to let them I'm going to put the cat image at XY instead of at 0, 0, because it might actually be different at some point. They might change where they wanted the image at. And then I don't need to load the font again because I already have that. And I also don't need to make the message image again because I already have that. It's like, it's made, it's being stored. All I really need to do is just display it again. And I'm going to do that at XY too, in case the user had moved the image somewhere else. And then I'm going to do pygame.display.update. Okay, so let's go ahead and run this and see how it looks. Okay, so I'm going to try resizing the window. Looks good. Oh, I guess you guys wouldn't have anything to compare it to. Like, if you don't do that part, then when you resize the window, it's just like, well, I don't remember how it looks. Let's find out. Hold on, what happens if this is not here? Okay, so if I don't put that part in, then when I resize the window, oh yeah, that's right. Like when you make it bigger, it's just like black. There's nothing there. Okay. All right, so let's leave that part in because that's good. So when I resize the window, I want it to display what should be there and not just nothing. All right, so that was the next type of event. But now for the exciting stuff. So I want to be able to respond to the things that they type. So what I want to happen is if they start typing a message, I want to put that, I want to replace this instructional message, if this type of message, then click and drag where you put it. I want to replace that with whatever they type. And I think I also want to give them a way of like deleting what they have and starting over. So I'm going to designate one key to be the delete key, and I'm just going to use the escape key. You can use whatever you want. I'm going to use escape because that's how I did it before. And then otherwise, if they type, then I want that to be added to the message. But the first thing I need to do is detect whether the event I'm looking at is a key press at all. Okay, so what I'm going to do next is I'm going to do another elif. So elif event.type equal pygame.keyDown. So if it's pygame.keyDown, that means the user pressed a key. And once you know that they've pressed a key, you can get the particular key that they pressed. You don't want to look for the key. You need to check that it was a key before you try to get what key it was, because otherwise, if they clicked a mouse, then you can't get a key from the event, and there might be an error when you try to do that. Okay, so once I know that it's a key, I'm going to say if event.key equal pygame.k_escape. So this k escape thing, I mean, that's just something I had to look up online, like what the right value was to put there for the escape key. You can look up all the different keys online on the Pygame documentation. Okay, so once I know that they pressed escape, then what I want to happen is, okay, so that's going to be for when they're resetting the message. So basically I want to set it to be the default instructional message again. So I'm going to redefine the message string here to be this default value. Okay, so otherwise, if they didn't press the escape key, then, oh no, wait, so there's more than that I want to happen when they press escape, right? Like I don't just want to set the message string back to the default, I also want to display that. And in order to display that, I need to, so basically like if I just, where is it? If I just do this command, no, not that one. If I just do this command again, first of all, message image, MSG image, that's the old message string that was rendered there. So it's not been updated. And even just doing that wouldn't update the screen. I need to actually call this update command right here. But there's another problem too, which is that you can just keep adding things to the same screen and they'll just like pile on top of things that are already there. So what I really want to happen is for everything old to disappear and for just this new message and my derpy cat to be displayed. Okay, so I'm going to call all of these commands again, and I'm going to have to put one extra one in there too. Hold on, let me get my tabs lined up here. Okay, so I'm going to do all of these again, but I also need to redefine what message image is. So I need to re-render the message, this command. Right there. Yeah, so I'm re-rendering the message, and then I'm displaying it again, and then I'm displaying the whole thing again. And this fill command right here, that's basically like painting over everything that I had there before. So it's like, it's not deleting it, it's still underneath, but it's blanking it out so that it looks like I deleted everything. Okay, and then I'm putting the cat back, making the new message image, displaying the message image, and then actually updating the screen. If you don't do that last one, then nothing will be displayed. Okay, so all of that is not going to look any different than what we had up to begin with, so I'm going to keep going before I demonstrate it again. Now, so that's what happens when they press escape. Now, I want to also program what happens when they type something else, but there's actually a different type of event for pressing a key versus like actually typing more text. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to do the following. So I'm going to do elif event.type equal pygame.text input. Okay, so in this case, it detects whether they're typing something that basically is like capable of being displayed. Like for example, hitting the escape key is not considered like typing in text because there's no text associated with the escape key. Similarly, like the arrow keys, there's no text associated with those. Or so this right here, now that I know that they've pressed a key, I also want to check if it is the type of key that I can get some text from. So like a letter or a space or some punctuation or something. So I'm going to check that. And then if that is true, now I have to be a little bit careful. So if that's true, what I want to do is let them add the text that they just typed onto the text that they've already typed. Okay, so that they can like continuously type a message. So what I'm going to do is message plus equals, so I'm concatenating whatever they typed onto the end of their previous message. And then I'm going to do event dot, what is it? Text, event.text. So event.text will retrieve the text that they typed when they pressed the key. Okay, so I've updated the message, and now if I want to actually display that on the screen, I got to do all this. I'm going to do all those commands again. So I'm going to do this. And let me fix my... Okay, there we go. All right, so let me run this now and let's see how this looks. Okay, so far the things I can do is I can resize, I can exit the program. I programmed the escape key to like reset it, although that's not showing anything because it's already reset. Now let's see if typing some text does anything. Oh, it's not there again. I made a mistake. What did I do? Okay, I think maybe I'm not... Maybe because it's already a key down event, it doesn't count as a text input event too. I think that might be what it is. So let me unindent this all by one. Let's see if that works. Oh yeah, there it goes. Okay, you see I'm like typing at the end there, up here. So I'm like typing more text there and it's displaying it. Okay, I think that's what it was. So basically, I guess when you type a letter, there's actually multiple events that are happening. First, there's the key down event. Then there's the text input event that tells you what letter it actually was. And then there's the key up event when you release the key. Very complicated. Okay. All right, so that's working. And then let's see what happens when I hit escape. Yep, it resets it. So I can type, and then I can hit escape. Type, escape. So as you can see, it's adding it on to the end of the instructional message. So if I wanted to just let the person start typing from scratch, then I would need a way to check, I guess, whether the message currently was the instructional message. And if it was, then I would just delete that and let them start typing fresh. Okay, so I'm going to do that. So I need to check here. I only want to put it on to the... Well, I always, I guess, when I add whatever they type to the end of their message, but I want to also delete the message first if it was the instructional message. So I'm going to put a little if in here. So if message is this instructional message, then I want to reset it to be just an empty string. And then I'm going to concatenate the new text onto the end of that. All right, so let's try this. Yep, it lets me start typing from scratch. Now if I hit escape, boom, instructional message is back. Escape, escape. It's kind of fun. It's always fun making the computer do stuff, especially if you have a derpy cat. By the way, I don't know if you noticed this, but like, you know how there's red behind the cat? That's because this particular image, it's a PNG and it's got transparent portions of the picture. If you have the right image editing software, you can make transparent parts of the picture. That way your background colors or other images that are behind it can be displayed. So you can kind of do something like a paper doll effect where you can stack up different images. Okay, anyway. All right, so what do I want to do next? So I let the user type a message, but it's still staying up there at the origin. So now I want to let them move the image around, okay, using their mouse. So there's another type of event for a mouse press. So now what I want to do is check if the event elif event.type is them putting their mouse down. Pygame.mouse button down. Okay, so that's the event that happens when they first press their mouse button down. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to have, let's see, did I program this? Oh yeah, I have this Boolean up here for whether their mouse is down. Okay, so I'm going to make that be true first of all. Mouse down is going to be true. All right, so I'm keeping track of whether they've currently got it down. And now what I want to happen is I'm going to change the position where the message and the cat picture are appearing at, which was called XY. Okay, so I'm going to change XY to be the position of the mouse, like the place where their mouse is at because they click there. Okay, so this is going to be pygame.mouse.get_pause. Okay, and now I've gotten the XY position. I need to actually like move all the images there. So I'm going to paint over the screen again, and I'm going to redisplay everything at that mouse position. Okay, so basically I'm just going to copy and paste these 4 commands. Well, I don't need to re-render the image, do I? I think I just need, yeah, I just need those 4 commands right there just to redisplay everything I already have. I don't need to actually re-render it. All right, let's try this. Okay, so I'm going to click. Yes, click, 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 click. It's so satisfying to make a program work. So you see wherever I'm clicking, the top left corner of the message and the cat image are going there. Okay. Cool, that's pretty good. But now I wanted to show you also how to click and drag, because that might be something you want to do in your program. All right, so how do we click and drag? Okay, so there's another event type called mouse motion. Now, mouse motion events are always happening whenever you're moving the mouse, whether you're clicking or not, or whether you're dragging or not. But if you want to enable click and drag behavior, then you have to check not only you got a mouse motion event, but also that the mouse is currently down, because that's clicking and dragging. Okay, so my next elif that I'm going to do for the event type is going to be mouse motion. So event.type equal pygame.mouse motion. But I don't just want all the mouse motion events. I only want the ones when the mouse is down. Okay, so I'm going to put an and here, and I'm going to put mouse down. So when mouse down is true, that is because the user has pressed the mouse button. All right, so now that I have that, what I want to happen when I get a mouse motion event is basically just the same thing as what happens when I click the mouse. Just figure out where the mouse is and move the image there. So I'm going to paint over the screen, reload the cat image, the message image, and then update the screen. And of course, I also have to grab the new position of the mouse with this XY command right here. All right, so let's see if this works. Yep, so I'm clicking and dragging and I'm moving this around. And now notice what happens when I release the mouse. It's still moving around. Okay, so the reason for this is because I gave the mouse down Boolean variable a way to become true, but I didn't give it a way to become false. So once it's true, it just stays true. So in order to make it false when I release the mouse, I have to actually program it, right? Like I have to check if I release the mouse and then make that variable false. Okay, so that's the next thing I'm gonna do. Okay, so I'm gonna do elif event.type equal, so it's pygame.mouse button up. Okay, and when that happens, I just want to make mouse down become false, and that's it. So at that point, I've already moved the image there because of mouse motion, so I don't need to move it again. All right, so let's try this again. So I'm clicking and dragging, and when I release the mouse, yes, it's not moving anymore. Cool. Okay, so I think we pretty much covered like all of the basic concepts that I wanted to tell you about. So we talked about how to initialize your window in Pygame. We talked about initializing your variables that are going to control the program's behavior. We talked about drawing the initial screen for the user to look at. And we talked about this continuous loop that runs constantly when the program is running. You know what? I think I actually forgot to do the tick part. The clock tick part. This was something that was in the example programs that I looked at online. I wonder if this thing works if I take out this clock command. Hold on. Yeah, it does still work actually. So now I'm kind of like curious, like what is actually the importance of the clock command? I guess you just need that if you want to set a different refresh rate. But what's the... I was under the impression that you needed to set a refresh rate, but maybe you... I guess you don't need to. I mean, this is still working and I forgot to actually put it. I need to look this up. Hold on. According to the Pygame documentation, which is what I've been like alt-tabbing to whenever I pause the video, you're supposed to update the clock like once per frame, which is once per loop. I'm not actually really, I'm not super aware of like what this does. Although this phrase right here, which is hilarious, seems to indicate to me that this is going to kill your CPU. I wonder whether that's really true. Like, what's my CPU looking like right now? Should I just open Task Manager? That's why everything disappeared for a second. Where's my CPU? Oh, damn, I am eating CPU. but the thing that's eating CPU is my video capture software. Okay. I guess I'm not going to worry about the clock too much then. I don't know. Wait, no, I'm not actually running the program. Oh yeah, I am. Okay, wait, let's see what happens. What's this gonna do? Is that eating my CPU? Well, it does say my power usage is high. Yeah, I guess it is, like 10%. That's pretty high. Okay, let's see what happens if I actually put the clock ticking in there. Okay, so I'm supposed to do this once per frame, so I guess I'll just do it up here at the top. What did I call my clock? Oh yeah, clock. So I'm supposed to do clock.tick. Okay, let me try running this again and see if it uses less than 10% of my CPU. This is why you don't want to do this on Replit, by the way, because it does eat all graphics are pretty intensive. Okay, so let's see what happens here. Oh yeah, it's down here at 0. Okay, I guess this is an object lesson that, yeah, you really do need the tick command to not eat your CPU. But is that really what was causing it? Hold on, I want to. Now I want to do it. Whoa, that looks weird. Now I want to do an experiment. Let me just try. Take that out again. Is this really what's doing it? You gotta be scientific about this, kids. Okay. Oh my, yeah, oh, it's already up at 9%. I'm not even clicking and dragging. Okay. Moral of the story, you must call clock.tick. Okay, so we're gonna put that command back in. Oh my gosh. That was more important than I thought. Who knew? All right. Shows why you read the documentation. Okay, so I think I did everything that I wanted to do except for changing the color, but I'll let you guys look. I did like super fancy color changing stuff in my example final project, so I think I'll stop there. But there is one last like really important thing that I want to tell you, and this is about good programming. So you guys saw me do a bunch of copying and pasting while I was writing this program, and when you copy and paste that frequently, that is a really good clue that you should be writing a function. Okay, I shouldn't need to actually call these commands over and over and over again. I should just have a function for that, and then I can call the function. And that way, if I wanted to update something in one of those copy paste commands, I wouldn't need to find it every single place that it appeared. I could just update the function. Okay, so let me see. What are the things that I'm calling again and again the most frequently? It's these 3 lines right here and the screen fill, and sometimes I'm re-rendering the image like right here, but sometimes I'm not. So I guess I'm gonna maybe do 2 different functions, like one where I re-render the message and update everything, and then one where I just well, no, I guess I could just have one and then like pass that to the, okay. I'm gonna do it. So this is the last thing that I'm gonna do in this demo. All right, so I'm gonna have a def, and I'm just gonna call this like, I don't know, screen update. Okay, and then I don't think am I gonna pass this any arguments? I think I'll just do global. Well, I don't know. I could give it like X and Y for arguments instead of doing global variables, and maybe maybe I'll give an argument for the message image, MSG image. Okay, so basically, like you're gonna need to know what those 3 things are: the X, the Y, and the message image that you're gonna display. Well, I guess you also need the cat image too, right? So you have your choice of whether you want to like pass those to the function or whether you want to just have them be global variables. I'm not like super aware of whether one of those things is better than the other. You know, I have so many variables. Let me just make these global variables. I'm just gonna do it this way. Okay, so I have global variables for, so what are the things that I need to know? So basically I'm gonna be doing these 4 commands right here. So I need to have access to all of the variables that are in those. So let me paste those up here and then I'll just look at what I have. By the way, Shift Tab doesn't work in idle. It's Control left square bracket. It's really stupid. That's why I hate idle. All right, anyway, so the things I need here are BG color, cat image, X, Y, and message image. So I'm gonna make those all global variables. BG color, cat image, message image, X, Y. Okay, so now instead of those 4 lines there, whenever I have those, I can just call this function instead. Okay, screen update. All right, so I'm gonna do that in a bunch of places. Let's see, where am I doing this all at? Okay, so like for example, those 2 right there, and then these 2 right here, I'm gonna replace that with screen update. And neither of these 2 is actually putting anything on the screen, so I don't need to worry about messing up the order of the things appearing. So I'm just gonna call screen update. Okay. And then these right here, I can just do screen update. Let's see, these two, screen update. All right, these two, screen update. I had some functions like this in my example project. I don't know if anybody actually tried to understand any of that code, but I was definitely using functions. It's good practice as a programmer instead of copy pasting the same lines everywhere. Okay, I think I replaced them all. Yeah, so that makes your program a lot shorter too. It's just easier to understand when it's short like that. All right, let's see if it's still working. Drag and drop. Yep, and let me try typing. Type. Yep, hit escape. Oh, resets. Yeah. Oh, one last thing I want to tell you is like where I learned all this information at. I mean, the first thing I did was like Google other people's examples, and then I started like trying to understand what they were doing and change it and stuff. But the most important information after that, so you're going to have mine that you could use it as an example for that. After that, you got to refer to the documentation. So the Pygame documentation, you can find just by Googling Pygame documentation. And this is where I just was. It's the Pygame documentation. So basically, like, if you want to know how to change the font, for example, I didn't read this, but you could figure it out by reading this stuff that's on this page right here. Or you could just Google, how do I change the font in Pygame? I mean, that's fine too. If you want to know, like, for example, all the different keys that you can check if you pressed, they're on the key page. So yeah, these are all of them right there. So like the one we used was K_escape, but you can use all these other ones. If you want to know about like how to draw some circles, rectangles, stuff like that, it's all in this documentation, or you can just Google whatever questions you have and look at answers that other people have given and, you know, look at other people's examples. Like, for example, if I want to know how do I draw a circle in Pygame, well, it directs me to the documentation. Okay, or I can probably find some examples like this one, and then I can just read that person's code and kind of try to figure out what they did. So, okay, this is what they did. Looks pretty straightforward. Looks like they're putting in their screen. I called mine the same thing. This looks like a color. This is probably a position. This looks like maybe a radius, and then this is maybe, I don't know, like the thickness of it or something. So those are your options for figuring out how to do everything else. Of course, you can also ask me for help, but I'm just going to be figuring it out exactly the same way that you do. All right, so that's it for this little Pygame tutorial. Hope you enjoyed it, and have fun dragging and dropping images of derpy cats.